Okay, now we are moving towards container. Container means, see, container is the common term here. Like how we have the common term OS. In OS, we have different types of OS. Windows OS, we have Linux OS, we have, even though in Linux OS, we have Ubuntu, CentOS, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, many operating systems we have. Correct? So same like here, Docker is the one of the type of container. Container is a common term, but Docker is one type of container. Like we have Linux operating system, correct? Like the Docker container. We have different containers also we have in the market, but Docker container is very much popular among them. And this is open source. What is mean by open source? You know very well. So we have the Red Hat, or we have SUSE Linux, and normal Ubuntu also. We have normal CentOS also. We have. What is the difference between SUSE Linux and CentOS? So SUSE Linux is the paid version, and CentOS is the open source. So what happen if you want, you can install CentOS as well, but security wise, CentOS is not secure. 99% it will be same binary files only. But if you take SUSE Linux, so they will do the vulnerability checks, and if they have any issues, if any thread, if they find, they keep on update. But in CentOS, you will not get updated version monthly once and all. You will not get any versions newly come. Then only.
Center is like almost UL, right? No more support on that one, or if I want to spin up CentOS VM, there is no image available, right? But still there.
Yeah, if you want to spin up CentOS image also will be available, but you will not get support. Security
Ah,
wise, no one will use this. But for testing purpose, you can use in your home laptop. But in companies, they will not use. Why? Because CentOS is the open source, and that is just for testing purpose they are releasing. What is the advantage? See, if any new features comes, no, they will release in CentOS only, but that is free. Because you and me, for testing purpose, what we will do, we will install CentOS, and during that time we will find some issue, so we'll go and search in the Google. So I'm using CentOS 9, I'm using CentOS 11, my this thing is not working, how to fix it, something you will search, correct? Those guys, CentOS guys, will take those things, and they will keep on enhance that, and they will try to fix it. Once they fix everything is ready, that thing they will move it towards Red Hat or SUSE Linux, something like that. Because SUSE Linux or Red Hat, that is paid. Paid means it should be more secure. Monthly once you will get the patch. That is what normally you will do as a Linux administrator, correct? Patching you will do monthly once patch.
yeah. In my
So,
organization, we use SUSE Linux only. The
mhm.
security patches and the CV and all, right, we receive, and we have to keep updating our kernel. And if any software packages also, we have to keep updating it.
Correct. So that is why we are using, but that is why organizations using SUSE Linux. Okay.
Hmm.
So they will keep on watch it, what happening, and is there any threats are coming, or they'll keep on enhance the security, as well as they'll keep on enhance the features. Okay. So same like here, Docker is the open source, but here because we are using containerization, correct? Always we will use the base image will be SUSE Linux most of the time, or any other Red Hat Linux. On top of just we are using container, the containerization only open source, but OS base image we are using anyway from authentic vendors. Okay, so no issues. We can go ahead. We can use it Docker. That is why much problems we are not seeing in the Docker. Okay. So why we are using Docker? This is portability and reproducibility, efficiency, and scalability. If I read this English, you will not understand. Once we finish today's class, you will come to know what is these four advantages. Okay. So before entering into lab, I just explain you the container architecture or Docker architecture. Okay. So wherever we are installing Docker container, okay, wherever we are installing Docker container engine, I could say, okay, Docker container or Docker engine. So wherever I install Docker engine, see here I install Docker engine, correct? So our container engine. I told container is the common word. Docker is the one of the container. Okay, so you could say container engine or Docker engine, no problem. Okay, so I install the container engine. So wherever I install container engine on top of Linux operating system, this will become as a host. Which host? Container host. That become as the container host. Here we are using Docker container, so it will become a Docker host. Correct. If you have normal operating system, on top of that operating system, the moment when you are installing web service, then that will become web server. If you install database, then that will become database server. If you install DHCP, then it will become DHCP server. Same like DNS server. Like that, what you installing on top of operating system, based on that particular server will become DB server or web server, something like that. Same like here, on top of Linux operating system, if you install container engine, that will become a container host. Okay, here we are installing Docker, so it become a Docker host. Correct. So the moment when you are installing Docker host, definitely there will be services or daemon. In Linux we are calling it daemon, but in Windows we are calling it as services. Correct. So daemon will be there. So what this daemon will do, it will allow you to start your services or stop services, or if you want to do anything, whatever you want, you can do with the services. Okay, so here also we have Docker daemon, we have, that is Docker service we have. So whenever you are type any command, whenever you type any command on your Linux shell, okay, Linux operating system shell, for example here in the Linux OS, if you type any command, so the command, if it is start with the Docker, no, whenever you start with any command with Docker, then it come to know. Who come to know? Your operating system come to know that, okay, this guy want to interact with Docker service. Correct? So the moment when you run, when you type Docker space whatever it is, blah blah, then your operating system come to know, okay, this guy want to speak with the container host or container services. That is what we are calling it as here client. Okay, so you are typing some command. So whatever you say, for example, you want to create one container. Okay, for that, if you want to create any container, first you should have the image locally. Okay, what is mean by locally? You should have the image inside your operating system. You should have the image inside your operating system. So if you want to create any container, this from this operating system only this container will be created. Say for example, if you want to create one container for a web application, then you have to first install the, you have to first pull and store Nginx image here. From that Nginx image, you can create Nginx web service or Nginx container. Okay. Same like if you want to create any DHCP server here, then first you have to install or you have to pull the DHCP server's image here. From this image only you can create DHCP server. Okay, so you are, whenever you want to create any container, what is the rule? Rule number one, you should have the image locally. If you don't have image locally, then what happen? You can download the image, you can pull the image from the registry. Okay, this pulling the image from registry is one time activity. The moment when you are pulling the image from the registry, that image will be downloaded or it will be pulled and stored inside your Docker host. After it's installed, it pulled your Docker host, you can use the image and you can create multiple containers from the same image. By using one single image, you can create multiple containers, no problem. Okay, but same port you cannot use it, that is different case. You cannot run the same application in single virtual machine. Correct, same application, same port you cannot run in the single virtual. Why? Because port conflict will happen. That is why here you can create a containers from multiple containers, you can create by using one single image. Only thing is port, you should different port you should give. That is the case, but we will do this in practical. But the concept is, if you want to create any container, you should have the image locally. Okay, from this image only your containers will create. If you don't have this image, what it will do, what you can do, you can pull the image from the registry. Now what is registry? The registry is nothing but it is the centralized storage place for the image. Centralized storage for the image. You might have heard about Git. correct? We are going to use Git lot in our organization, in our classes, but just I'm giving you Git. What is the Git? That is centralized the storage place for your code file, whatever it is, correct? But here registry is nothing but registry also centralized storage place only, but in registry we will store only images, not our own files. What we will store? We will store only images, we will store. So in your organization, this registry here, we are going to use Docker Hub. Okay, by default Docker Hub, inside the Docker Hub we have n number of images. Who created these images? These images, some images created by Docker itself, some image created by some organizations, some image created by like you and me, third party. Okay, so three types of images we have inside, we will have inside the Docker registry. But it is not necessary that you have to use always Docker registry. Okay, no one will use Docker registry directly. If you are working in a very reputed organization, they will not use Docker registry, very rare. What they will do, they will have their own registry. Say for example, if they are having any AWS, inside the AWS cloud, if they have, if they are using, then AWS providing its own registry, correct? For that particular account they will provide one isolated registry, so that inside that registry they will store all the images which they want to deploy, which they want to use it. All this image will be stored in that repository. If you have any Azure cloud, if you are using, then Azure providing image registry, correct? ACR, Azure Container Registry, something like that is there. Okay, same like ECR. So ECR is the container registry in AWS, correct? So those container registry you could use it, and inside it you could store your images. Okay, so who will create this image? This image, already ready-made images are available. If you want, you can use that image. You can take that image and you create a container. Inside the container, if you want, you could do some changes. Then again you could create image from this particular container, because already you have image. Okay, from this image you created our container and you did whatever you want, the changes you did. After you did the changes, again you can convert this container into image as well. Your own image you can create it here, and that own image you can keep it in your locally, or you can store that own image into your registry as well. That is what today we are going to see. Okay, so this is what the flow. If you give any command, so that command go via Docker daemon. Say for example, if you want to create any container, what is the flow? First it will go and check whether the image available locally or not. If that image is available locally, then it will create a container from there. If it is not there, then it will try to pull, or you have to pull the image manually. If the image is pulled, then after that you can create a container. What happen if the image is not there here also in the registry? Also, if there is no image, what will happen? You will get an error, there is no image. Say for example, now you just will Docker pull Saravanan. If you give, what happen? It will go and try, it will check whether the image is available or not. If it is not available in the local, then it will go and try to download from the registry. It will go and check whether any image which is name called Saravana is there or not. If it is there, then it will download. If it is not there, then it will give you an error. There is no image called Saravana, correct? So that is what this is how the flow will be there.